I don't know if you were from Mars or something and you were observing humans sitting there and they were buying excrement and then they were, valuing it very highly and putting it in museums and they were haggling over how many resources to use to buy the excrement, you would just sit there and say, these people are nuts. You wouldn't sit there and try to think about why or, start studying it the way they're studying it. And you'd just be like, okay, you guys are weird. You guys are dumb. I'm not going to sit here and almost like dignify what the fuck you're doing and pretend it's like normal. There's someone here earlier who was trying to like normalize this behavior and rationalize it. I think that's a coping mechanism more than it is like grounded in some like intelligent, sophisticated attempt to understand the world. Like people do stupid things all the time for whatever reason, and it's not like you have to sit there and parse it and understand it like you're some kind of like, I don't know. It's just not really what you have to do. And I think we often think that we do have to understand everything. We just don't. It's people will do stupid things. That's it.
Yeah, that's a fair take. I didn't really think about like just not giving attention. Like I thought maybe I was missing because I haven't had time to look at any of this stuff recently, and I just saw it pop up, and I was like, what am I? I gave it a quick glance, and I was like, this doesn't make sense. Maybe there's something there. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think so. Often, like the only rational explanation I like to use is like when liquidity changes, then people have money. Like unemployment's so low right now, and leisure usage is so high. For example, TikTok is a company that I don't think anybody thought there was room for more social media. And what we learned from TikTok is there's way more room than we thought. And that people have more and more hours. And from those hours, you would think, okay, Netflix would lose or YouTube would lose. No, they're up too. So humans have so much more time to goof off right now. And unemployment's at an all-time low. Who's working? We're almost in a UBI state. And in that state, we need entertainment. Well, you can almost view what people are doing at GameStop as entertainment. Like, ooh, let me throw money at the fake stock and shitty company, see what happens. That sounds fun. Who? There are people in Africa starving. You're buying GameStop. Crazy. It's crazy.
Just to kind of piggyback off of what Yogi said there, was that the stage was previously set for the short squeeze back in 2021. So, but like, what's this driver now? And that's this question because like I think a lot of us all agree that the fundamentals aren't there, but like, what is going on? Why are we getting behind us when this thing's so crazy? But if we actually look at what kind of some of the writers behind the Dumb Money movie said when they were kind of in the writing process for that movie, was that the interviews they went to do with a lot of the people that they based some of like the more regular characters off in the movie, was that they were like very focused on the fact that Roaring Kitty's still in, so I'm still in. And that I think is what is the driver for this now, just to speculate a little bit, is that it's kind of just his kind of cult following reigniting around like, he's in, so I should be in.
Where was he before? Why now? What has changed about this business that's useful or interesting?
I think he's also firing his golden bullet. Like he's built up this social cloud. His position went from, I don't know, like 20, 30 million to whatever was recently quoted, like 200 million plus. I doubt there's that much liquidity for him to fully close his position, so it'll be interesting to see over the next, like, I don't know, 3 to 6 months what happens there.
Totally agree.
Do you guys know, does anybody know how much he's getting paid from Robinhood?
Is he getting paid from Robinhood?
From the settlement.
Oh. I don't know.
I wonder if that'd be enough to cover the calls.
I doubt it.
That's just absolutely, it's funny business. The guy's not even like the liquid position. He's fucking levered. So let's see what happens.
But like, doesn't that all make just to play devil's advocate, doesn't that all kind of set the stage for like more people to short it? I mean, like obviously shorting it seems like a great idea right now, and if a lot of people decide to do that over the next 2 weeks and call it out as bullshit, like that kind of sets the stage for a lot of shorts to be holding the position, right?
Yeah, I think this is a great time to make a grilled Roaring Kitty sandwich.
Hundreds of millions of dollars in play.
Yeah, we got him. We got him, boys.
And he's calling the club, isn't he?
Yeah, when you go to try to have a money fight, usually there's somebody with more money that'll show up and win the money fight.
For sure.
And this guy can't win the money fight. Maybe y'all can try to help him, but it ain't gonna work. Because Jane Street and Citadel, you know, through this weird broker exemption thing, all these funds can print money. It's not like normal. They don't play by the normal rules. And with me in Dusseldorf and the swaps, I got a different set of cheat codes that are not accessible to the normal person. So yeah, in a little way, there is this populism, this fight of like people like Jane Street who are very sophisticated, who built this mousetrap that's like undefeated, mousetrap that just makes money. 2 Sigma, Jane Street, Citadel, Goldman, etc. And that people are mad at that, but I don't know. Try to beat it, I guess. You know, I don't think it's gonna work.
Yeah, I don't think it'll work forever, but I think that there's something in the interim. It seems like if it's a money fight, you know, the argument basically comes down to who's got more money in order to like hold their position. And I don't disagree that there's more money on like Main Street, Wall Street, but I mean, you don't need that to happen. You don't need the fight to go on forever for Rory Kitty to walk away on the next one trade, right? And
we'll see, man.
you can make a lot of money. Like, a lot of people can make a lot of money. Seems like a lot of people did make a lot of money during Jimmy, but obviously as well, a lot of people lost a lot of money. So I don't disagree with that.
He's also possibly breaking the law, which, you know, is, again, personally, I don't give a shit, because that's
He likes the stuff.
That's what I do.
Speculate on that, Mark? Can you expand on that a little bit?
Sure.
What is your view on how he's potentially breaking the law?
Well, I've said it a few times, but, you know, these crackers in charge, they view everybody as criminal. You're a criminal, you're just waiting to have your criminality come out.
Oh, I agree
you
with
know,
that, but I was just curious on, like, specific...
Yeah, listen,
sorry.
I'm going to get to that, man. I also want to circulate some people up. If you've been up for a while, I might bump you down because we're going to get some new blood in here, keep it fresh. So please voluntarily go down.
Yeah, I'm going to drop down.
Thanks. So yeah, I mean, if you try to make a stock go up, basically it's market manipulation. Now, is that fair? No. Is it right? No. Do they give a shit? No, unfortunately, they don't. And it's wrong. Like, I've been through it myself. You know, I've been through it many times. You sit there with some bozo from the SEC who makes your high school hall monitor look cool, and they're sitting there criticizing and scrutinizing everything you did as if, you know, you had some ill intent or that, you know, you had the worst intentions, or that you are operating some cloak and dagger conspiracy. And I could see Roaring Kitty there, sitting there saying, I just bought the stock and I tweeted about it. What's the problem? And the SEC's like, well, here's a list of the problems. And these guys are nerds. Like, they're literally professional nerds. And I hate them. And in some ways, I'm on Roaring Kitty's side for this, because it's so stupid and so dumb. But it is, unfortunately, like the way it all works. And, you know, I've learned it the hard way. He might learn it the hard way, that these people they literally make shit up. And a judge will absolutely agree with them. In the SEC, there's something called ALJ, Administrative Law Judge. They work for the SEC. They're the judge that gets paid by the SEC. It's their own judge. It's not the courts. It's ALJ. Now, a lot of times they're using the ALJ less and less because it's unconstitutional. But it just gives you a flavor for the type of shit they pull. They literally have their own judge that works with them. So they go down the hall to their colleague and they're like, you think John's guilty, right? You think he's guilty, right? Yeah, he's guilty. Okay, cool. Guess what? They never lose when they do their own courts. They can lose in the real courts, which they use sometimes as well. But, you know, the whole thing is pretty stacked. And if a jury listened to this case, and let's say the charges were brought. Now, I'm just an average Joe. I'm a bus driver. That's what I do for a living. And I'm listening to this, and I see this white boy sitting down, and I hear the prosecutor say, this man made $200 million by telling people they should buy
this company whose revenue has dropped, whose earnings are unprofitable, because he wanted to be rich. And he got these people to make this stock go up to make himself rich. And I'd sit down, prosecutor would sit down, and me as a bus driver would be like, God damn, this man's guilty. In every single case, whether it's the President of the United States, yours truly, or anybody else, they're going to find you guilty. And that's the shitty part about this world, is that it's unfair, and success, for whatever reason, in America is punished. People want to tear people down. And I saw Jim Cramer doing it to Gary Gensler, saying, basically, if you watch that interview, the subtitles in the subtext was Jim saying, this guy should be in jail. Don't you think, Gary? And Gary was basically saying, yes, I do. That was the translation in elite speak. You watch the video. You tell me what it sounds like. That's what I heard. Did anybody see that video? That's what I heard.
Well, I think somebody earlier said, like, the term dubiously legal, and my first thought was like, well, everything's sort of dubiously legal, which is what you're explaining right now.
That's an interesting phrase.
Hey, Martin, I've got a question for you. I haven't heard you talk about this, so I apologize if you already have. But what are your thoughts on selling volatility? Because I know, it's fundamentally it's nowhere near what it's worth. But what I've loved these last few years is this has just been a volatility seller's wet dream. I mean, right or wrong reasons for it to go up and down. It's just been incredible. You look at the IV, it's just bananas. For me, the one thing I really care about is that I'm relatively confident that it's not going to go bankrupt anytime soon, and I feel good about buying and selling and just swinging the heck out of this thing.
Yeah, no, I mean that's a mousetrap some people like. It's not my mousetrap, but absolutely understand the rationale and agree with you. Just not something I've done. I'm retired, so when I call Klaus and B and G back up and Shinji from Nomura, I call those guys, they're going to be delighted. They say, Shkreli's back. Awesome. And I'm going to say, no, guys, I'm not back. It's a one-time special. And they'll say, anything for you, Shkorevi-san. And I say, thank you, Shinji, with a deep bow. And that's what I do. So anyway, selling vol is good.
Fair enough. And then one last thing, I wasn't sure if you had looked at this either, because I know you were kind of looking at revenue streams and whatnot. Have you modeled out or tried to forecast at all what your new strategy of selling the graded trading cards and like the single Pokemon cards and basketball cards and all that, if that is going to do anything worthwhile?
I'd like to see it get manifest in revenue before I even pay attention, because they did this with the fucking NFT thing and it didn't work. Because I said the same thing at that time, which is like, yes, you have a pile of money and you want to start a new business. Every business in the world does that, from Coca-Cola to Procter & Gamble to everybody else. It's not easy to start a new business initiative and make it work. These guys want to do that. So does everyone else. So when your business initiative starts to take off, I'll pay a little bit more attention and give it a little more credence, because as of right now, there's just not a whole lot of faith that, there's anything even worth looking at. Now, again, if you're in this stock for some godforsaken reason, you have nothing else to do with your life than pay attention to the cockamamie attempts at making money that they're going to make, well, yeah, you're going to pay attention. But for me, revenue, the pre-announced revenue is down 29% year over year. That is free fall. No business on the world wants to tell their shareholders, this quarter is down 29% from last year's quarter. What the F is that? Right? Who likes that? Only GameStop shareholders think that's cool. So I'm going to wait till that number's positive, and down 29 is a long way from positive. Nick, Boston Girl, one of you want to talk?